some room, and then leave some room for happy hour after that. So we're gonna make sure everybody's got all of the good nutrition it takes to be a great salesperson these days. All right, well, welcome back. You guys have a good morning? Are we meeting the expectations yet? Okay, great. Wait till cocktail hour. It's gonna get better and better, I promise you guys. All right, yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna keep it going because we got a lot going. I wanted to kind of finish up or put a bow on the real estate investing portion, which we started with this morning before we kind of turn the corner, start talking about a little bit more technology and influence and persuasion. And so we heard about what we think the market's doing. You guys analyzed the deals. So we've got a client who is a long-time experienced investor. And I said, hey, not only do you get the property management side, but you are an ideal client that invests and counsels investors. And so I wanted her to come on and share with you guys what she's looking for in a property today and how to talk to an investor. So I would like to invite up our good friend, Katie Linkus. Let's give her a round of applause. She's in from Memphis. And
Knoxville.
From Knoxville?
Yeah.
Is that different? I'm just kidding. I'm from Florida. I just learned how to spell 1031.
Yeah.
All right, let's give Katie a round of applause.
Should I use
ready
that?
to go. Yeah, hit the down button.
Should I use that mic or
What's that?
a mic? Do I need a
Oh,
mic?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
There you go. And hit the down once, make sure it works. You got
It works. Hello. It's good that I have a mic because I'm not very loud. My hair was a little longer and blonder in that picture. I'm glad to be here, Jeremy. Jennifer, thanks for having me. We love Rent Scale. I'm from Knoxville, just a little bit from here. Nice. So today we're going to talk in this session about thinking like an investor. I was here for most of the morning and was excited to see most of my job done for me already through the game and the topics. So hopefully this session will just sort of be like a recap for you. But a little bit about me. I have 6 children. 2 of them are adopted. We thought we were done. My youngest of the original is getting ready to graduate. He's a football player. And I'll tell you, if you have young children in the room, you only think you're busy. They get big and they have their own ideas and then they drive, but they still want you to be where they're going. So he's a football player. He's really good. They're in their second playoff game tomorrow night in Memphis. So my husband, who's here, he's my paparazzi in the back there. We're driving home, flying to Memphis tomorrow to watch a football game, and then come back on Saturday. So it just gets busier and busier. I thought that it would slow down when they all started to walk and talk and like be independent, and I think it's harder. I was a nurse in my previous life, critical care nursing, thank you. I like to be in charge, so I did trauma and cardiac. Worked in the ICU where no one really told us what to do. That was my favorite part about it. I haven't really outgrown that. Again, you can ask my husband. I'm not very good at being told what to do. I stayed home with our kids for about 10 years and homeschooled them, and I got really bored. I didn't know that I was an entrepreneur until I was about 35 probably. That was only last year, in case you're wondering. But looking back, I realized, like, I was always making something, selling something, lemonade stands, I'm bored, constantly bored. I'm not as bored anymore because I'm old, so I'm more okay with not doing anything. But through that time, our kids got older, they didn't need me as much in school, my boredom set in, I didn't have a project anymore. And so my husband and I started saying, hey, what can we do with our future? I had been in a W-2 job. He was in a W-2 job. We made really good money, but knew that wasn't like the epitome of wealth. There was a difference there. And so how many of you have heard of or read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? I really would expect more hands to go up. Okay. If you want to understand how your investors should think, start with that book. But we, very stereotypically read that book, started investing in real estate. So our first purchase was a single wide mobile home in a park. It cost us $5,000. We put $3,000 in it. We sold it for $25,000 on owner financing. We did it again. Then we bought a mobile home park. Over the course of about 3 years probably, and this was in, let me back up, some context. This was in 2017, 2018, 2019, where I was buying homes for $30,000 and renting them for $950,000. You can't do that anymore. Your jobs are much harder. I'm so sorry. But it was really easy when we were buying real estate. So we bought single family portfolios, small multifamily, grew our personal portfolio to about 300 doors by 2020. Through COVID, we really pivoted, stopped buying, and walked into a need for property management. So we'd already been managing our own properties, had a lot of investors connect with us. Hey, we like what you're doing. Your properties are successful. Can you manage ours? So we started a management company. Our management company manages as many as 1,200 doors. The risk of being, our primary client is multifamily. The risk there is that when one client sells a portfolio and you don't retain management, you might lose 150 doors overnight. So we did that last year. We're back up to almost 900 doors now. We have a construction company. I'm a licensed general contractor with my team. And we've rehabbed. We should have burned some things down. That would have been better in some scenarios. But we've really kind of done it all. Over the course of those years, we've bought and sold 500 plus doors ourselves. We've assisted in the acquisition and sale of probably 1,000 plus, about 1,500, I would say. We, like I said, manage, in between around 1,000 to 1,200 doors on average. The thing that I get the most excited about is the ROI on our personal portfolio. So remember I said we bought stuff for $30,000 a door. Well, we sold it for $150,000 when we sold. So my ROI, no one's doing that today. It was a really nice run, but you're not going to run into clients that have that kind of margin, which is part of the conversation about being the property manager, being the asset manager, the trusted relationship advisor for your client. So I want to know, you know all about me. Who's in the room? How many of you are BDMs? A lot of you, good. How many of you own the firm? Okay. And how many of you are property managers? Anybody? Oh, good. Was it just one? Two, good, okay. Who else is here? Who's here and didn't fall into those three categories? Anybody? Okay. Anybody else? Anybody in finance? Marketing, okay, good. No one in finance? Well, good, you won't know if I'm lying or not then. Okay. So today, my goal is to help shift your mindset if it needs to be shifted. I'm going to continue to teach you how to speak investor. RentScale did a great job this morning going over terms and language and words, and build your confidence. How many of you feel really confident talking to an investor? Maybe half the room. Let's define investor. Let's start there. So how many of you do mostly single family? Okay, that's what I figured. Anybody do primarily like 50 plus door multifamily? 20 plus door? Okay, mostly single family though. What was that? I have one. Okay, so as I'm going through this, I'm definitely coming from a perspective of a large multifamily investor, okay? But I want to challenge you, don't tune me out, because I might be talking about things strictly on the investment side, and you are going to have, Mark and Jessica, or the last scenario where he etched his initials in the backyard. Okay, so I don't manage for them because I can't manage their emotions. I am an 8D, A, whatever, and I have one emotion, it's angry. I just figure out how to channel it in different ways. So we don't do that at my firm, but I want to encourage you that as I go through this, regardless of whether or not you're talking to a homeowner with his initials etched in the backyard or a large multifamily investor, someday either one of them might become that investor, a real investor, a professional investor. You need to know how to have the conversation and maybe even drive them down that road and become that trusted advisor as they're going so they don't go to someone else. You know, you don't want them to think of you when you're managing their family home and think of your competitor when they decide they want to be an investor, right? You want to be that person all the time. Okay. So let's talk about what owners care about. You will hear some crossover as I talk because I do also own a management company, but from an investor standpoint, if you are dealing with an investor, not an emotional child who inherited their grandmother's house, okay? These are the things we should be talking about and thinking about. They should be thinking about cash flow. They should be thinking about appreciation, exit strategy, leverage. Thought I was gonna spend a lot of time explaining these, but thanks to Jeremy and Jen, I don't have to. So we're gonna talk about other things. The language, NOI, we learned about that. The cap rate, the internal rate of return, cash on cash. Now we talked about that in the last session, the difference between NOI and cash on cash. We call it CUR, keeping it real. How much money do you actually have after every dollar is spent? A lot of people make a mistake and just look at NOI. I still have debt service. I might have some salaries over here on the side. Maybe I pay for a car out of that entity's account. Like there's all kinds of expenses not necessarily tied to the property or their portfolio that take away from my keep it real cash flow, okay? What are the turn and vacancy costs and loss? People don't always think about that. I did notice, I didn't see, not to like, Jeremy, I love you, but on those scenarios, I didn't see a vacancy loss on there. We have to be thinking about that. I know we all like to think that people are gonna move in and they're gonna love it and stay there forever and always pay their rent, but who has ever actually experienced that? I was gonna like tell you to come up here and teach my session. No, it doesn't happen, okay? So you gotta make sure that you're thinking about that. Even the Mark and Jessica who have plenty of cash, like they can cover a couple months of mortgage, but who wants to do that? I can write a check, but I don't want to. So I hope as my BDM or as my property manager, you're considering that and thinking about it so that I don't wake up in 6 months and have to give you money. Have you ever had to ask an owner for a contribution? They're super excited about it, right? Yeah, don't make that mistake. Like, tell them they're gonna have to pay you. And then when they don't, they love you even more. But you should make sure that that's part of the conversation. Strategy. Do you talk to your investors and your owners about strategy? Anybody? Good, a few of you. We had a conversation about equity earlier. I live for equity. I just told you what my portfolios looked like over about 3 years. Now, I got lucky. COVID did things that we probably won't ever see again in real estate. But I don't have to cash flow. Now, I'm not going to lose money. I don't have to cash flow if I know my equity play is huge, because I can leverage that in a lot of ways, and we'll talk about that. Don't get into a space where you're not considering all aspects of the investment, because today my goal might be cash flow. I told you I have 6 kids. They don't pay for themselves, okay? And they all like expensive cars and traveling and private schools. So today I care about cash flow. But in 5 years, I might not. I might need to leverage equity. But you didn't care about equity, so we didn't talk about that, and I have now found myself in negative equity. Am I happy with you? No. Is that my fault? No, because you're my advisor, right? So advise me in all aspects of the deal, okay? If you can't connect your service to your investors' returns, you're just a vendor. How many of you consider yourselves a vendor? None of you? How many of you talk about how the services your property management firm provide directly connect to your investors' returns on a regular basis? If you're not doing that, you will become a vendor and they'll decide they don't need you when all of a sudden there's no cash flow, or the market drops and they've lost equity, or they just need to get out. They're going to quickly figure out, maybe I don't need to pay a property manager. I could do this myself. Have you had that conversation with anybody? Does it go well? No. You want to be like, you're so dumb. but you've told them a lot about what you do, right? They probably know what you do, but did you connect for them how what they do ties back to what they care about the most, which is their bottom line? Make sure you're doing that so they don't figure out or decide that they don't need you. So where you might be missing the mark. You talk about process instead of profit. How many of you have processes in your firms? How many of you use Lead Simple? I think they're a vendor here. Okay. Processes. We live and die at my firm by processes. We have an onboarding process, a leasing process, a rent collection process, an eviction process, a move-in process, a move-out process, an application process, right? As the investor, so I'm going to come over here as the investor, I don't care. I don't care what your process is. I don't care how you get it done. I want someone in that house paying rent. And I don't want my expenses to be out the roof so that I owe you money at the end of the month. Now, does that mean the processes don't matter? No, because you can't deliver that outcome without the processes. But I don't care as your client about the process. I care about the end result. So make sure you're not spending so much time in your pitch as a BDM or in your sales conversations or your relationship conversations talking about the process and connecting that constantly for them to money. Most professional investors, especially if they function as a business owner, probably have like some ADD, like little dysfunctional. I mean, I'm one of them. I'm a hot mess. I literally just had to go back before I came up here and turn an alarm off my phone that reminds me to eat at 1 o'clock, okay? Because I knew it was going to go off. So don't assume that just because that they're investors, they're thinking that. You do it for them. Tell me what I need to think about. Tell me how what you do makes me money. That's what I want to hear, okay? You focus on customer service but not capital preservation. How many of you guys know what your Google star rating is? And should be proud of it. Hopefully it's good. I won't look you up. Ours is like a 4.2, I think 4.3. It's important because when a client is doing their research and comparing, they might search you, right, and see your Google star rating, and that's good. That might be why they initially call you. I've had a few call and say, hey, I saw your star rating. It was pretty good compared to everybody else. Do they care about that star rating if they're losing money? 1,000% no. I would rather go with a 3-star company that makes me money than a 5-star company that I'm writing checks to every month. Now again, customer service is important. Our team, it is one of the top metrics on their scorecard every month and every year for bonuses and how we measure success. I'm not saying don't look at it as a company, but when you're talking to your clients and working on relationship, tell them how that star rating reduces their vacancies, increases their lease renewals, decreases maintenance because people are calling and they want to talk to you and they tell you what's going on. You have a 5-star rating because your maintenance team does a really good job. And when your maintenance team does a really good job, it decreases their expenses because you're staying on top of deferred maintenance, right? So it's not that it's not important, but are you connecting the right dots for your potential client or your current investors? Oh, sorry. Are you talking about your fees without connecting them to outcomes? When we get a new client call our office, I'll get them on the phone. We don't have a BDM, actually. Our contracts are big and only a few a year, so we don't have a BDM right now. But when they call, within 3 minutes probably, what's the one question they ask? What do you charge? Thank you. I don't answer them. I won't tell them because then all of a sudden I'm a vendor. I'm not a partner and I'm not a trusted advisor. So if the first thing you want to do is talk about what I'm going to charge you, we're not a good fit right off the bat. I want to talk to you about our outcomes and what it's going to do for your investment, and then I'm going to tell you what I'll charge you to do it. And at the end of the conversation, you're going to be glad I charge you fees because it means you're making money. Make sense? All right, so let's go into some examples. The number one thing to continue to reestablish yourself as an advisor and a partner in these deals is to anticipate their needs before they do, anticipate their pain points before they do. So I have 3 examples up here. Second Creek Studios is an 87-unit motel conversion into multifamily. Disclosure, it's owned by we have a nonprofit that we founded that focuses on access to affordable housing. Our nonprofit bought that. I'm going to talk to you about it, though, from the management side. The nonprofit board really doesn't know anything. The management company runs it. When we bought it, it was zoned motel. You can't have leases at a motel, at least not in Knoxville with our zoning codes. You also can't advertise apartments if your use is motel. We didn't know that when it was closed on. So we put up a sign, leasing. Within a week, I had a yellow notice on the door. You don't have the correct use to be leasing these as apartments. Oh. I didn't call the board, so I mean, it's a little not fair because I'm also the president of the board, but let's pretend I'm not. Let's pretend I'm just the management company, okay? We didn't call the board like, we don't know what to do. We can't rent these apartments out. We got around our management conference table and said, well, first off, I don't like being told no. So if you tell me no, I'm going to figure out a way to make it yes. We created the plan. The plan was, fine. They're weekly rentals. We're going to put them on Servoy, which is a really cheap hotel management platform. We're going to let people check in. We abided by all of the zoning rules. We do everything legally every single time. Do I bend the rules and find the way around the rule? Always. But take me to court, I'll win. I promise. So we had that building. Now, remember I said we were basically shut down within a week. What does that mean for the revenue, the mortgage payment that's due on that for the owner? If you take time to freeze, twiddle your thumbs, we don't know what to do, the sky's falling, I'm losing money by the second. And that is all your investor is thinking about. We had that building full, 87 units. We pivoted our marketing, pivoted what we were doing, and had it full 2 weeks. Okay? Now, if I didn't own it, again, pretend I don't own it, is your client happy? Yes. Are you a vendor? No. They want to know what you should do next, right? Luella Drive. This is a service recovery conversation. Totally different property, townhouses. They have a pool. Anybody manage a property with a pool? My construction manager would like to fill them all with concrete. Okay, I said no because I like having a pool. But all the electrical wiring underground burned up in June that feeds the pool equipment. The pool turned green. We had to pull permits. We had to trench about 100 feet through the parking lot to replace the wiring. We got all that done. The reason the wiring burned up, anybody have a guess? The pool pump was bad. Guess what was on back order? The pool pump. It was the end of September before the pool was up and running. How excited was the property? Thrilled. What happens potentially in a situation like that at that property? Okay, they're going to ask for discounted rent. What else? What'd you say? Yes, they're going to leave. Yes. We did not sit and wait for that to happen and then say, I'm so sorry, Mr. Owner. The pool was down all summer. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do about that. It's not my fault. We said, Pat, called him up. For $650, I can put an ice cream truck at the property. I can give every unit a voucher for their occupancy. So if it's a 2-bedroom, they get 4. If it's a 3-bedroom, they get 6. And everybody gets free ice cream. And we say, I'm so sorry. We didn't deliver. You expected a pool. We know that that was not fun. This doesn't fix it. But this is our token of appreciation to you as a tenant and our ask for some grace. Next year, we're going to have a pool. $650. Do you know how? Now, I said they're 2- and 3-bedroom townhouses. Average rent's $1,400. How much would that cost him if he had one tenant move because of the pool? $3,000 between vacancy and probably some turn costs? Easily. $650. I have an entire community that's happy. Now, I didn't go to him and say, everybody's mad, I think we should buy them ice cream. Because he'd probably be like, I use profanity a lot. I'm going to try to remember not to do that. No, it's really unprofessional. It's hard. Listen, I was at a church event, we were speaking, and I had to stop and rethink what I was going to say because I remembered I was at church, and I probably shouldn't say that. So anyway, no, he's not going to care. I don't care if they're mad. It's not my fault the pool was down, No, it wasn't anybody's fault. Don't tie it to emotion. I don't care about their emotions. But you just told me, I just told him, I can save you about $2,500 if you let me put an ice cream truck at the property for half a day. Yes? When? Tomorrow? He loved the idea. Am I a vendor? No. I'm all of a sudden a trusted advisor, right? I just saved him a lot of money. The property has a great reputation, and it saves my reputation as a management company, right? All right, Kate Avenue. Now this one, disclaimer, I am not telling you should do what I did, okay? So I'm going to share this story. This will not be a clip that we post anywhere, but it's a great story. It's actually one of my favorites. So Kate Avenue is a single-family home, Section 8 tenant. She'd been there for 10 years. The owner is a well-aligned investor from a value standpoint, goals. We know his goals. We know his values. We'll get to that in a minute. Renewal time came around. The rent for this property on a voucher was about $1,600. Her rent payment, her vouchered rent payment, $850. I don't care how value-driven you are. You're not going to give up $1,200 a month in income. You can't, because costs haven't stopped rising, right? Our property taxes tripled in Knoxville during COVID. So he had to have higher rent. He didn't want to displace her, but we had to do something. Okay, so here's what we did. Remember, trusted advisor, expert, right? I am the expert. Walk into the room, own the room, be the expert. Ben, give me 60 days. I might lose. This might not work. You're losing anyway. Either way, we're going to give her notice to vacate. She might not move. We might have to evict her. The property has been occupied for 10 years. Is anybody moving right into that baby? No. You're also going to have turn costs, probably pretty major turn costs, right? Give me 60 days. Let me see what I can do. He said, okay. We had her turn in her notice to vacate to the Section 8 office. 30 days later, the voucher payment stopped because she was supposed to be moved, right? She then resubmitted her voucher forms to the Section 8 office for Kate Avenue. They approved it. She moved out, moved back in at a rent rate of $1,650 a month. Were they supposed to approve it? I don't know. I don't care, and I didn't ask. We just quickly signed the paperwork and ran away. She didn't have to move. He more than doubled his income with no turn cost, no vacancy cost, no headache for my management company, and everybody wins. Am I a vendor? Absolutely not. Who's he asking the next time he has something he can't figure out? Me. Is he going to ask anyone else to manage his property because they might charge him 1% less? No way. I just made him all kinds of money. Did it cost me anything? Some time. Yeah. Be the trusted advisor. Last example, Shiloh Ridge. We just renamed it. I'm not going to tell you the old name because no one should know what this property ever actually was. 97 units, workforce housing, 1980s, 90 build, Class C at best. The new owner is out of state. Again, aligned from a values standpoint. We walked with him so that there's a commercial broker that we partner with, gives us big multifamily referrals. We walked with him through due diligence. Like, they brought us into this deal 90 days before closing. During due diligence, we uncovered fraud in the management company, unreported vacancies, sewer lines where they just pulled the clean out cap off and let it run instead of fixing it. Now, I know to look for these things because I have experience, right? I'm the expert. You should be too. We got him through due diligence, so much so the expert that his lender actually required him to sign so they met us at the property, we toured around, they looked at some other stuff, they required him to sign a 2-year agreement with us to close the deal. They would not let him do the deal without us as the manager. Am I a vendor? Nope. He actually can't even do the deal without me. I've not reminded him of that yet. But I probably will at some point. So we got through the week of closing, worked through strategy, constant conversations, but we're the asset manager. We are the trusted advisor. Think like the investor. Don't just think about how am I going to lease this up and how am I going to collect rent. Those two things are important, but that can't be all you're thinking about, okay? I have some quotes up here. They just say how great I am. I'm going to skip them because I'm almost out of time. And you guys are figuring that out already. So, think like an owner, right? You do not have to own the doors. How many of you own your own real estate? Good, a few of you. For those of you who don't, it's okay. It doesn't mean you can't think like an owner. Come to events like this. Listen to Bigger Pockets. Go to real estate investment meetups in your city. Learn how investors think. Learn what they think about. Listen to them tell stories like what I just told so that you walk away with fresh ideas and approaches and new ways to think about things. Think like the person who does own the property at all times. Ask better questions. What's their investment history? We kind of went over this. Why are they investing? I really care about people feeling valued in their housing experience. That is really important to me. I like money. We have to make money. But my property managers know that we're going to do all of that, but if we do that at the expense of someone feeling like they matter, I'm out. Know those things about your clients so that you're talking about all of the things that matter to them, right? Understand their goals. That all helps you create better proposals. If you can sit down at the table, talk the language, talk strategy, know who they are, what they're doing and why they're doing it, you're not just giving them a proposal about your fees or about your processes. You're giving them a proposal to be a partner with you. In fact, we have a conversation when we're onboarding. We're partners, we're not vendors. You talk to me like a partner. You start telling me what to do, demanding things, sending me hello texts with question marks. Yeah. I have fired investors. Have you guys fired investors? I hope so. I had one. His partner was atrocious. I said, we're done. He said, I didn't think property managers fired investors. I said, well, I do. Now, I wasn't a vendor. I was a trusted advisor. So he said, you don't ever have to talk to my partner again. Please don't fire me. I said, okay. And I have never talked to his partner, not in 3 years. Own it. Own your business. But know your investor. Know how to talk to them. Respect yourself. Okay? Be a partner. Be a partner. Be a partner. You are not a vendor. Be invested in their deals. Be invested in their success. Show them that you are, and they'll keep you around forever. I don't think I really have time for questions. Oh, you even removed my question slide. You're so smart. Thank you very much.